Then another thing I also saw you talking about is people can invest in the Nairobi Stock Exchange. Me, the closest I've ever come to investing in Nairobi Stock Exchange was working at Nation Media Group. Otherwise, I always look at it like, hii ni kitu ya iko na wenyewe. Are there easy ways like to just go online and invest in the stock exchange, no?
Yeah, I think nowadays it's quite easy. We moved from way back where guys used to, you have to trade in the trading floor. Maybe you have to have the share certificates. Nowadays everything is online. You have some very good brokers who have very good services. Personally, I use AAB Access. So you can just download the app on Play Store, sign up for your trading account.
Yeah.
Then you load your account and you just get started investing in stocks.
But if I'm trading, is it different from Forex?
Stocks.
Now it looks super close to Forex. If you're telling me I'm logging into my trading account, that's like logging into my Forex account, Ama?
Okay, the difference between trading and investing is that trading is for the short term, investing mostly is for the long term.
Yeah.
Also, what can we call it? Trading, most guys use leverage or what we call margins and spreads. But investing, you are not investing in virtual things, you're investing in physical stocks. Yeah, so there's a difference. Also, your time frame is long. You're investing maybe for 5, 10 years.
So I can invest, I don't have to trade.
Yeah, you don't have to trade.
Okay, because you're trading, ndio niko najua ni tricky. It gets tricky. And then you'd also talked about how, according to you, education insurance policies are not a good investment. Why?
I think that's one of the biggest discussions that's always thrown across. Maybe whenever, I think I did a thread, and whenever people come across, there's always that cycle of threads that you have done. Someone will see it for the first time, they'll reshare it, then it will appear again in the conversation. So whenever it's recycled back to my timeline, I'll see guys having different opinions. But education insurance policies, if you look at it and how it has been designed, the main, I think it sells one because everyone wants to invest in their children's education. And everyone imagines that maybe they will struggle or maybe they will have some challenges. Okay, you're never sure how your financial status will be whenever that time comes. So I think it's the objective, maybe the idea to secure your kids' education. It's a very powerful motive to save for, maybe to invest for. So I think that's the point number one. It's a very powerful idea, maybe a powerful motive to invest for. But now if you look at the solutions that the education insurance policies bring, they try to combine insurance and wealth creation in the same place because it's both. They try to say that it's both an investment product because you are saving for your kids' education. So you are saving, so you're investing for your kids' education, and at the same time it's a life. It has a life insurance on top. So that means if you died, your kid will still see through school. So the biggest challenge is on the returns. The returns, it's quite ridiculous. Yeah. So you can imagine if you are saving, let's say 10,000 per month for the next maybe 10 years, and when you do the math, you can see that whatever you'll have saved and whatever they will give you, there's a very small difference.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So I think that's the biggest challenge when it comes to education policies.
So you'd rather, because you're still investing, you'd rather now invest in the money market fund or even is looking at treasury bills, treasury bonds, because you'll still be able to pay your fee and it's a better return and it's sindio.
Okay, when it comes to returns, so maybe guaranteeing for the future, if you're saving or investing for the future, if you can have just a good investment portfolio, obviously you can have maybe a chunk of it that you're saying that, okay, this chunk or maybe this section of my portfolio is set specifically for maybe paying for my kids' school fees. But again, not to really discredit the education policy, I think one thing that maybe the only advantage that I've seen about them is even if you died as a parent, you are still sure that your kid will get educated. But now for your investment portfolio, maybe your next of kin may decide to educate or maybe not educate your kid. So I think that's the only advantage. But I think I've tried to talk to a lot of industry players, a lot of fund managers, a lot of companies, asset management companies, and I think there are some moves being made in the markets. They're trying to come up with better products for investing, maybe for saving, for securing your kids' education. So I think it's an interesting space to watch.
Okay. Because another thing, of course, that you always talk about the emergency fund. And so what's an emergency fund? Maybe for someone will enjoy.
Okay, so emergency fund is it's like, okay, this is like now the second stepping stone. Maybe if saving in a money market fund was step 1, now maybe getting an emergency fund is step 2. When you're starting getting serious with your finances, getting organized with the finances before you now start investing. So an emergency fund, basically it's a pool of funds that can see you through maybe a certain period of time without relying on your income. Yeah. So let's say your basic expenses, you're talking about basic expenses, the necessities, maybe your rent, your food, maybe your transport to work and back, your basic necessities. Internet nowadays, it's a necessity, so maybe your internet there. So maybe your monthly expenses come to 50k. Those are the basic. We're not talking about the sherehe money and what have you, going for concerts or trips. We're not talking about that. We're talking about the basics. It's 50,000 per month. So your emergency fund is where you pull your savings, maybe your income, in a place whereby it can sustain you maybe for a period of 1 month, 2 months, 3 months, 6 months, even a whole year. Yeah. So an emergency fund, it's advised that you should have an emergency fund for at least 6 months. Because obviously the longer the better, because you never know what will happen.
6 months inafaa kulipia hizo vile umesema.
Yeah, so if your basic is 50k, then your emergency fund should be around 50 times 6, 300k. Yeah.
Oh, okay. You look at your expenses and
then your normal expenses,
and then you work with that. Okay.
Yeah. So the importance of an emergency fund is, one, to secure your financial future for the short term, because you can lose your job, you can lose your primary source of income. A lot of things can happen where you can lose your source of income. Yeah. Maybe you are shifting jobs. There are some guys who say, okay, I've worked for this company, I don't like them. Maybe they have some toxic behaviors that I don't like. Maybe I don't like their culture, maybe how they run things. So I know I have a marketable skill. So maybe I can, within 2 months, 3 months, I can get the company that I can work with. And maybe you don't want to continue holding on to that company as you're looking for the other job. So you can leave your job, still have your emergency fund intact. You can fall onto it and see you through the 3 months, 6 months that you are out of your job before you get your other job. The other thing is, when you're starting investing, we always say that you can only invest money that you cannot afford, that you can afford to lose. Okay, obviously no one wants to lose money in investing, but you should just be cautious, because you cannot invest money that it's planned to pay your rent. So an emergency fund gives you the comfort as an investor, because let's say you have invested in some stocks, or maybe some T-bonds that you plan to hold for the next 10 years, then you have a financial emergency that you need cash instantly. So that means you can't sell your bonds, or maybe your stocks, because you have an emergency fund that you can fall back into. So that's the other essence of an emergency fund. And then maybe the final one is just financial emergencies. They happen any other day. So whenever you have a financial emergency, you don't have to take a loan maybe from your friend, telling someone to send you 2k urgently. You can always fall back to yourself and see yourself through.
So nasema mademo nafakwa na hiyo.
Actually they do have emergency funds.
Ni sisi.
Mademo na wamejipanga sana, by the way.
Wako na 1 year plan, you get a short term plan.
Alafu a sinking fund. Because a sinking fund, I think ni watu kama mimi wale we have weird addictions, but come to understand a sinking fund, how would you explain?
Okay, so a sinking fund is now like, there's now like the elite style of getting organized with their finances. So a sinking fund is just where you are trying to get more, maybe a little bit organized with their finances, whereby now you are saying that, okay, I have to plan for most of our expenses, because now I have to have a budget, have investing or be saving goals. Every money that you're making, you have already maybe anticipated 2 months, maybe a month before even it lands in your bank account, it's going to be allocated. So a sinking fund is basically how you save for your short-term expenses. Maybe you're planning that maybe I'm going to travel maybe during Valentine's. You can start saving for that early enough. Maybe you're planning you want to go back to school later in the year. You can start saving up for that. Maybe you're planning to have a wedding. You can start saving up for that. Any short-term expenses that you think you're going to meet in the near future. Maybe you want to buy a car cash. You can start saving up for that. So just getting organized with their finances, whereby you don't want to exceed your budget, maybe to hinder your investment goals. Just want to be focused, maybe to have a better financial plan.
Alafu nini gari, cash or slowly? Which one do you think is the better way?
Okay, when it comes to car financing, first and foremost, let's like I said in the previous discussion, is that it's very personal to begin with.
Yeah.
So to begin very personal in terms of, okay, there are guys who are not comfortable with loans. There's someone who, whenever he has a loan facility, maybe they cannot sleep well at night because they're imagining, okay, what if I lose my job, gari itakujiwa or something of the sort. So they are very uncomfortable with loans. But there's another guy who will have a loan and hata kumkanya na kuanga na loan. Yeah, so I think there's that personality to it.
Yeah.
So one, it's very personal. Yeah. But then when it comes to doing the maths now, maybe from a financial analysis perspective, you have to consider a couple of factors. Yeah. So we can take a look at both ways, whether buying cash or maybe getting a loan.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think there are some guys who are very lucky, who are very good employee benefits. There are guys who get car loans at 3%, 5%.
Yeah.
Even mortgages at 3%. So if I was working for such an organization,
Chap.
I will never buy a car cash 5%, and you can get maybe 12% in a money market fund, or maybe 19% in a T-bond. The difference is quite huge, and that's a no-brainer.
Yeah.
So that's one thing, taking advantage of maybe low rates if you are accessible to them. Maybe if you're in a circle whereby you can get a car loan at very low interest rates, that's a no-brainer, because it makes a lot of financial sense, because you are the return, maybe the borrowing rate and the returns you can get from investing that money, the difference is it's quite huge.
Yeah.
So that's one thing. Then the other thing, buying cash versus now taking a loan. Like I mentioned, if you buy things, you have the things but don't have the cash.
Yeah.
So the advantage is maybe taking a loan, maybe not looking at maybe the interest rates and the other things, maybe just looking at having the cash now, is that you still have your cash flow. Cash is very important, because you can still meet your financial needs, you can still use cash. Then you can still invest this cash in some scenarios, but now you have to also fall back to the interest rates, depending on the lending rate that you are given, maybe by your bank or whatever car financing you are using. So if you can invest these one, maybe you want to buy a car that's worth maybe 1 million, maybe let's say 1 million, and maybe you can get an investment that can give you maybe 19%, like the T-bonds right now, 19% per annum, and maybe your loan it's maybe 12 or maybe 13%.
Okay.
You can decide to take the loan and maybe invest your money and use the returns from this investment to pay back the loan. Okay, theoretically it sounds perfect, because on a spreadsheet it sounds perfect, but now doing it practically, it may have a lot of
hard,
but it makes sense. It makes sense when you are doing the calculations. So the fact that you have maintained your cash flow, maybe you have cash. Cash is always important in businesses. So because without cash you can't pay workers, you can't even pay your rent. So you have retained your cash, then you can invest your money in an asset that can give you better returns than the borrowing rate that the bank has given you. And then also, what else had we talked about?
Because we tuna compare to those two.
Maybe I think I've exhausted the points actually. So those are the main things. Also, I think the point I wanted to repeat was the point on if you have very friendly credit terms, like 5%, 3%, that's a no-brainer.
Whatever.
But now if you are taking a loan,
ya gari
it's 20% per annum.
So umechukua a second hand Range Rover ya 5M. That means by the time unamaliza kuilipa umepay like 9M, sindio? Like it's ridiculous. You have paid so much.
And then actually I think car loans bring a lot of discomfort to people's lives. You are living a comfortable life, but now because you want to maybe go that higher in life, maybe you want to feel good, maybe you want to improve your status. So let's say you're earning maybe 100k per month. You are living in a decent place, maybe you're paying rent at 20k. You are having a lot of cash to save and invest and do quite a couple of things. But now you have taken this car loan, and now the monthly payments are around maybe 40,000. So you have your 40,000, you have 25,000. So you see your budget now is very strained. Now you also have to account for fuel, servicing, maintenance, parking fees, the emergencies that comes with this car. So now your budget is overstretched now. So you have a car, but havuna kakito at the end of the month because everything is gone. So I think you have to be very considerate whenever you are taking a car loan. More so, I think one of the worst cases you can always have is that bring the discomfort that you never wanted. Because I think there's a quote that says, what does it say? Don't don't go for the life, don't lose the life that you have going for the life that you want.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, because now you are comfortable, you are doing well, but now you go for the car, now you are struggling financially.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
you have quite a
Stretching
decent.
yourself.
Yeah, you have stretched your budget.
Umekuwa mtu wa yoga. Kwanza Nini, kitu sikuuliza, there are people who always ask this question that if you are, let's say you are earning 100k per month, what's your ideal rent?
That also depends on
And the worst, like if you are someone trying to make sound whatever decision, this is the only
decisions.
income you have, hauna secondary income.
So I think it depends with a couple of factors. One is the other items in your budget. You know, there's someone who there's someone who only pays
transport.
You know, there's someone who has very huge other things in their budget. Maybe they are paying school fees. They are paying rent. Maybe they are paying black tax and other things. They're sending
I
money
think
to
you need standard black tax for a lot of us. It's
so I think it depends with your budget cumulatively to begin with, because now if you have other things to do that your budget has to meet, that means the level that your rent, maybe the ceiling of your rent level comes down now. But now if maybe you don't have those many expenses, you know, the guys, maybe you come from a well-off family. You know, you don't have people maybe telling you to loan them or maybe to lend them money once in a while. Don't have fees that you're paying, you're just living by yourself, so your budget is quite accommodative. So you can afford maybe to spend a lot on your rent. But basically, maybe with all factors being constant, of which now it's because, like we said, personal finance is very personal. That's why I started from the point of it depends with your other items on your budget. But for the standard person, for the average person, between a fifth, a quarter percent, a quarter or a fifth, that's 20-25% of your income. Should go to rent. And if you're exceeding that, you should start getting worried. If you are the standard person.
So nasema around like 20-25%.
20-25%.
Okay. So kama ni 50% wewe
unless now you know that there are those guys who are very personal with, and also I think also the income range also matters. Because you know someone, I think the income range matters, because now someone earning maybe the standard or maybe the average salary in Kenya which is around that 1,000. So I think, and someone who is earning maybe $1 million, you know, someone who is earning $1 million, even if they can spend 50% on rent, they still have 500,000 to spend. So I think the budget also matters. But now someone who's earning just that 1,000, if you spend 15,000, you only have 15,000 on to spend.
But nakwaga I'm so pro rent, lakini nikisikia una $1 million unaishi kwa 500 na kutia na nyahunye. I always feel like cause nini kitu moja nimenotice na Kenya pia, when you look at rent, I feel like if you are patient you can get a good house at a good price. I've seen
there are
like
always
houses being
deals.
niona house na advertise you are like Karen for 150k and you have your own loan and you have what, because your Karen ni mbali, so it discourages a lot of people from staying there. And then I've seen some houses in Loresho. So I think with a budget of 200k you should be able to get something. Like usitumia like 500 half a million house Kenya so unapataga. Alafu nini there's another time, I don't know what the discussion was, but kuna time kulikuwa na discussion ya watu wakisema like if you saved your money in dollars maybe at the beginning of the year Ruto akiingia ulikuwa na $1,000 right now, you have like over 150k and you started out with 120k. But then I think you talked about a better investment would have been the USD money market fund. So how does that work? Like if I'm in Kenya, can I still invest in that?
Okay, let me just clarify my point. Maybe it never came out as I expected. So the first thing, okay, maybe this a recency bias, because that's what has been happening recently. So last year, I think 2022, let's start with 2022. Our shilling lost by 9%, maybe it depreciated by 9% to the USD. Then last year it depreciated by 28% to the dollar. So guys were like, obviously people that we are always doing analysis and a lot of analysis in Kenya. So guys were like, okay, if maybe you had invested, you have just converted your savings to dollars at the beginning of the year, you could be having these, you could have made this ROI, return on investment, just by converting your shillings to dollars and just sitting with your cash in your bank account, doing nothing else. And okay, those things, actually, I think there are a lot of guys who are trying to sound smart by saying that. But I think, okay, yes, there's a level of smartness in that, but I think it's not the end. That's the start, not the end. Because I think one of the biggest things that I tried to do last year was helping guys to come up with USD portfolios, USD denominated portfolios. So USD denominated portfolios are you're investing in a portfolio whereby all your assets are USD backed assets. So you have your USD money market funds, you have maybe a USD fixed income fund, you have offshore stocks and ETFs, you have maybe a Eurobond and such other kind of assets. So you see now the guy who made 27% maybe from just holding dollars and sitting with his cash in his bank account, he only made 27%. But maybe someone who had maybe the first step, or maybe ranking them according to returns, maybe the person who had invested the money in a USD money market fund,
now
the average was around 5%, 6%. Now add that to the 27%. So that guy had 3%. Now maybe there's another person who had invested maybe in US stocks and ETFs, maybe a good index fund, or maybe an ETF like the S&P 500. That the fund returned, I think it was around, I can't remember the exact figure, it was around 20 something percent. Now add 20% to 27%, that's 47%. There are even other asset classes that even returned better than the US stocks and ETFs. I think the Nasdaq 100, which is also a very good index, last year returned I think 55%.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's something that happens normally in the markets, and those are some of the factors that you have to account for when investing. There are a lot of risks. So the basic risk that everyone understands is the inflation rate. Then last year people were brought into light about the currency risk, whereby, I think you have seen currencies who have devalued their currencies, like Zimbabwe. I think some times back they were going to buy a loaf of bread with a wheelbarrow of cash, maybe a sack of cash. So you can imagine if you're a millionaire in Zimbabwe at that time, you just become just a broke man, because now you're going to buy a loaf of bread with the 1 million. So it's basically nothing, because now your currency has been devalued. And these are some of the risks that you have to consider as an investor. Whenever you are looking at your cumulative portfolio. Because now if you hold all your assets in Kenyan shillings, and then we never know how our economy will perform, how our CBK will...
But sasa swali ni hiyo, like if I'm in Kenya, how can I invest in that, like the USD money market fund? Okay,
so USD money market funds are offered by the same guys who offer the Kenyan money market fund, the Kenyan shilling money market funds.
Okay.
Not all of them, but most do. Most who offer the shilling money market fund also offer the USD money market fund.
Those working at CIC?
Yeah, CIC, they have a dollar fund. Kuza, they have a dollar fund.
Do they have a euro one?
Euro, no.
Oh,
yeah, so just USD and shilling.
Oh, okay.
Because I think USD is the
least, but I'm assuming your dollar has to be high. The least amount you can
The least amount, yeah. Okay, it's not quite high. Nowadays, I've brought it down. Guys are learning about these things. Financial literacy, maybe investing in money market funds a few years ago, it was something for the elite and the high wealth, high net worth, maybe guys who are very financially literate. But now it's becoming the norm. So I think there's a time CIC had the minimum as 10,000 USD. They brought it down to 1,000 USD.
Oh, okay.
Kuza has it as 100 USD. Yeah, so even with the $100 you can open an account.
Oh, okay. Yeah. That's good. And this is still low risk.
Low risk because they're investing in USD bank fixed deposits and Euro bonds. So bonds and fixed deposits are quite a low risk.
Oh, okay. And
so the guy who was trying to urge Kenyans to convert their shillings to dollars and hold them, what will happen now if maybe next year, okay, this is a long call, because I'm sure the Kenyan shilling even this will take quite a beating, but maybe it will become more stable this year. But what will happen in a year where maybe the Kenyan shilling becomes maybe more stable and the depreciation goes to normal levels where it has always been, because on normal times the Kenyan shilling depreciates against the US data rate of maybe 2 to 4%. So now you can see if you change your shillings to dollars and then you get your 2 to 4%, you are doing worse than someone who just invested their money in a money market fund who got 10%. So it's not about just converting your. Don't look it from one phase or maybe from a single phase. Just look at investing from all phases and just have the understanding of why are you converting your shillings to dollars. So I think that was a very conventional financial advice last year, even this year, because it seems to be working, and it's what we call, maybe most people are being affected by the recency bias because you can only remember the effects of maybe 1 year, 2 years back, but you're not accounting for maybe what has been happening for the past 10, 15 years.
Alafu I think pia inakuaga it's very people go online mtu anaenda kwa maybe kwa xc.com anaangalia exchange rate anaona maybe 1 USD
158
1 shilling ni 158 anafikiria kienda kwa bank atapatiwa na hii bei. Kienda kwa bank lazima uongezeka kobole juu, so let's say now all of a sudden it's 163. So 163 ukipata emergency ukiwa kwa hiyo gate ukishanunua hii dollar at 163 ukirudi unaenda kupatiwa 155. I think like you lose so much money. Like don't do it. If you already have dollars, deal na hizo dollars kiwa hivyo. But kwanza kuconvert kirukaruka unaweza shanga.
Actually that was one of the things I was trying to help a lot of clients understand, maybe a lot of guys understand, because investing in a USD money market fund, maybe investing in dollars for the short term is ideal for someone who wants in dollars, because now for you don't have to maybe do that currency conversion. But now if you are earning in shillings, let's say you convert your savings for December in dollars, and then maybe after a few days you have not convert your dollars to your shillings, that FX rate will lead you to losses. Because of those margins you'll have made losses actually. But if you're investing in USD backed assets, think long term, because that will allow time for maybe the depreciation and the rates to cancel out each other.
Because reason I was asking you if you're not kuuliza juu ya euro ni kwa sisi sasa tukiwa Kenya nini tulipaga na euro naitwa YouTube. But now if you're going to convert the euro to dollar, you shall lose tayari, so it's not worth it. Afadhali ubaki tu na shilingi yako, then you just invest in shillings. Like if you're going to have to invest and change, but now let's say you're a Kenyan in the diaspora, now this makes sense. Sindio? The USD money market fund, even in Kenya, plus hata ukiwa US Kenya, sindio?
Okay, investing in USD, okay, we're talking about, we're not only looking at USD money market fund or maybe converting your shillings to USD, we're looking at investing in maybe a USD backed portfolio in general. So it depends with first what you are paid in, or maybe what your basic salary, what your basic currency is. So if for someone who's paid in dollars, it's quite easy to convert your dollars to transfer your dollars from your bank account to the dollar account for this money market fund. It's quite easy, and you don't have to go through the margins when you're buying and selling, because you're only doing the transfer. Okay, but from a general perspective, when it comes to investing, it's very wise for you to not to have all your investments, like I was saying, maybe all your investments in shillings, because you never know, maybe you may be the next Zimbabwe where maybe your currency gets devalued by a huge percentage. But now it makes sense, and now it depends with the time frame. If you're investing for the short term, you cannot, it's not wise for you to go for the USD money market fund if you're investing for the short term and you're paid in shillings, because now withdrawing, depositing, those FX differences, you may even make losses. But now if you are looking if you're having a long-term perspective, maybe like for you who is paid in euros, there's some brokerage accounts that allows you to invest in US stocks and ETFs, whereby you can deposit your euros directly. So you can just hold your investments even in euros. And also now for someone who maybe is investing long-term, maybe a Kenyan who wants in shillings, investing long-term in dollars, you can invest in long-term asset classes, maybe like a euro bond. Maybe that the capital required may keep a lot of people off, but maybe assets like maybe the US stocks and ETF, maybe offshore stocks and ETFs.
Okay. So I think this has been like a masterclass. So you also offer these services, yes? Like if people want to talk to you directly, they can, yes? Yeah. So watu wanaweza kurichaje? Because najua Twitter, because I'm follow on Twitter, it's KAHOME Steve. How many? It's
KAHOME _Steve.
KAHOME
you can just search GICHUKI KAHOME.
GICHUKI KAHOME. Watu wabaki wamenini. I think at some point nikishafikiria more financial nini ndakutafuta tena tukija hapa, but endelea kitu unafanya, because I always look at your threads and I ask myself, what if I knew this at this level? And normally even when I bring someone like you, it's because I'm trying to first talk to the 20-year-olds. Watu bado wako young, they've just started earning, yes? and then after hao ni bonge of course na people in their 30s akina Ian and then now for anyone else it's never too late to learn yes it's never too late. You can't be like since niko 50 wacha sasa nianze kumake dumb decisions. What if you live to 100 like yeah because there's someone who's in their 50s who live longer than someone who's 2 years old saizi.
Yeah,
that's the reality of life. So you have to make just sound financial decisions. And why do you think that schools never teach financial literacy? Kusuamba tu
Because you have a school that closed.
yeah tuko tuna joke juu ya Kenya School of Monetary Studies but we did that on a comedy show iko na serious one like how does such a school close down because they didn't have enough money.
They didn't have financial sense.
yeah so kwa nafikiria hakunaga hiyo financial literacy because we are never taught about it. We are just taught save we are taught yes if you're successful kuwa na gari will depreciate, land will appreciate. Like a Kenyan economy class inakuwaga simple. Land appreciates, car depreciates. There are cars that actually appreciate. Yes?
Yeah.
So you see so
I think it's because of the, can I call it the bureaucracy? Because now it's an organized system of learning, and for changes to be made in the curriculum there have to be policies that are enacted, debated on parliament. A lot of changes have to happen. A lot of meetings have to happen for a change to be acted on. So before now you start debating about we need to introduce financial literacy in our schools. Uhuru, the former president, has already finished his term, and now the new government now wants to debate other issues. So they throw that back to the cabinet, and now they start debating other issues. So I think it's more about our policies, most of our government policies, because I think there are some countries who are doing very well with their educations, and kids are getting quality educations. So I think that's the main thing. Our education policy and our curriculum depending more so on our government, which is not maybe that serious, maybe have not yet seen the importance of maybe introducing financial literacy in schools.
Okay.
I think we're getting quantity education.
Quantity education, not quality.
Just everything just dumped. You just
stuff
have
your head.
a lot of materials, but you don't even know which one to use at what time.
Alafu nini, there's the famous, I always credit it to Boniface Mwangi because he's the one who tweeted it. So Boniface Mwangi has this famous saying that you are one illness away from poverty. Like the average Kenyan is one illness away from poverty. So I also niliona ulikuwa umeandika juu ya health insurance. So your views on that health insurance?
Yeah, so maybe I can mention, I think that's true to start with. All of us, most Kenyans, we are, unless you are maybe in the ultra rich. I think there was a clip that went viral. I don't know which. There was a famous pastor who was saying that he used I don't know how many millions to go abroad for.
Yeah, knew you were JCC.
Yeah. So unless you are well off, maybe like
$500 million.
Yeah, he spent half a billion on
Save
treatment.
his life.
On
cancer treatment. Yeah. Something of the sort.
Yeah.
So now you can imagine for the average Kenyan, how will you access $500 million? Yeah, so I think
on average congregant.
Yeah.
It's just a move. It's a pastor.
Yeah, hapa Kenya.
I think
we were
is it
JCC.
Why didn't he use prayer?
CUNA, I think it was CUNA.
Kwani hakutumia prayer? I'm wondering.
Pull one of his prayers.
See, because so after kutumia hii $500 million, is he still praising God for saving him? Ama anasema thank you congregants, because I'm assuming it's the congregation.
No, he said he was lucky because
okay, I can't remember. I think I just saw it on my timeline sometimes back.
Okay, that's interesting.
Damn.
Yeah, but I was just trying to use that amount for the average person now, using $500 million for treatment. And if you look at most people, whenever there's an illness maybe in the family, most people resort to harambes and well-wishers and pay bills and what have you. So we are always one sickness away from poverty, and that's why whenever you're talking about building wealth, we have to talk about wealth protection, and now wealth growth, or maybe wealth creation. So now I think I've talked a lot about wealth creation, investing in bonds, stocks, money market funds, circles, but I've not talked about more about wealth protection. So wealth protection is where now health insurance, life insurance comes in. So I think there's a friend of mine who used to say that sickness is not an emergency. And also death is not an emergency. Because it's guaranteed you'll die. And also there's also a high probability that you'll get sick because okay, in a year maybe you'll get sick once in a month. But okay, maybe the probability of getting a deadly disease it's maybe much there. Lower, but it's still there. So it's not an accident. There's a probability, there's a possibility. So now that's where health protection comes in. Things like health insurance very important because medical visa is one thing that can wipe off your investments and your savings in one day, maybe in a very short period of time. So health insurance is something that we always try to advocate for. And also, okay, I think health insurance is the most important, the most critical for many people. And also nowadays, I think the government has stopped being serious with NHIF. They are restructuring, renaming it, and a lot of things. So I think. Not even I think it's very important, very vital for health insurance to be part and parcel of your investment or your protection portfolio. Then also that's for everyone. I think it should be for everyone. But now life insurance, if you have dependents, if you have a family, one day you may be gone and you're still thinking, okay, how will my family do when I'm gone? So life insurance is also there to cater for your
life insurance on average. Let's say someone owns a policy of 10 million. How much will they need to pay per annum?
It depends on a lot of factors. I think there are some companies that have very good apps whereby you can or maybe calculators, you can just enter your details, your age, your health status, all those things, and you can just calculate. Then it can help you to calculate the premiums that you have to pay every month.
Okay. Because history one illness away, and I think this is also the I don't know if I should call it the conundrum, because a lot of people who are creating wealth end up not having time to take care of their health. So mtu yuko seated the whole day because you're creating wealth, and then this wealth ends up sending you to the hospital. Because unless you're a fitness, kuna watu wa fitness wale, like he makes his money through fitness. That's like, it's such a good way to make your money because you're working on your health,
like athletes,
and your financial health and your financial wealth. Yani kila kitu at the same time, your physical and financial health zote. That's nini. Otherwise sisi wengine umekaa hapo uko like
you need to go stretch.
Of course. And then you talked about also index funds. What are index funds? I think I've seen kitu naona sikuuliza.
So when it comes to investing in the stock market, there are two ways you can invest in the stock market. One is passive investing, the other one is active investing. So active investing is where you're investing in buying individual stocks. So maybe you're buying Safaricom, Equity, BAT, ABL, you're buying an individual stock. So you have to do the analysis and do your evaluation and say, okay, what price should I buy equity at? Or maybe why is buying equity a good investment? So you have to do the analysis. Then you have to keep checking whether it's still a viable option to hold on to equity, or maybe you should sell. Then we have passive investing. So passive investing is how you invest in a basket of stocks. So maybe through what you call index funds or what you call ETFs. ETFs are exchange traded funds. So now instead of investing in Safaricom alone, you invest in Safaricom, ABL, Equity, KCB. So you are spreading your risk, and also you are increasing your chances of succeeding in the stock market. Because if you pick one stock, the probability that will do well, it's pretty low. But if you pick maybe 5 stocks, your probability of maybe one of the stocks performing well will be quite high. So passive investing, that's where now index funds and ETFs come in. So you cannot. What determines the index funds and the ETFs is what we call indices. So indices single as an index, it tracks the performance of a certain sector of the stock market. So like in Kenya you have the NSC 20, the NSC 25. They recently introduced the NSC 10, but in Kenya we don't have index funds and ETFs. We only have a gold ETF that tracks the performance of gold.
NSE 20 iko na companies
NSC 20 Safaricom. I think I'm not quite sure the criteria they used to pick NSC 20,
because as long as umeniambia haina ukiniambia Safaricom, Nation Media Group, Standard Media Group, like no. because that cancels out everything Safaricom has. But Safaricom and some banks, that would be really good, because I see Kenyan
But
banks
it's
always
20 companies. I know our NSE has 60 what? There are some delisting, some shares that have been suspended. I think 64 listed companies.
yeah.
So if you now take 20, and the guys who say that most of the stocks in the NSE are not even investor worthy.
Yeah.
So I think you'll have some stocks that will ruin the party.
Yeah,
but we don't have index funds or ETFs in Kenya. We only have a gold ETF. But now maybe if you can give an example of the US stock market, we have indices like the S&P 500, the Nasdaq 100, the Dow Jones Industrial Average. So like the S&P 500 tracks the performance of the top 500 US companies. So now you have your Apple, you have your Meta, you have your Tesla, you have all these companies.
Amazon.
And the good thing about, we call it indexing, even guys like Warren Buffett have advised, and they have written and say that the average investor shouldn't concern themselves with picking individual stocks, but by investing in a low-cost index fund, because investing in stocks is hard. And even when Jack Bogle, who was the first person maybe to come with the idea of index funds, I think around 1976, when he was coming up with the idea, guys were ridiculing him, saying that, okay, who wants to invest in an average fund? Because now when you invest in the top 500 US companies, you'll get the average of the top 500. But what if you can get the top? You can invest in one company which will be the top performing and get all the returns. So guys were like, okay, who will invest in this average, and who wants average returns? But fast forward today, most investors don't beat a simple index like the S&P 500. I think if there's a score. I think it's called SPIVA. I can't remember what SPIVA stands for on top of my mind, but you can maybe look it up. But it usually compares how individual investors or retail investors and how managed funds compare to a basic index, maybe indices that track the performance of various sectors of the stock market. And most guys don't beat their benchmark indices, or maybe a basic benchmark like the S&P 500. Most people don't beat it. In fact, 90% of investors don't beat such an index. So now that's why it becomes much easier for the average person, maybe like you, who isn't concerned about following financial markets. You can just invest your money in an index or an ETF.
Now, ukiwa Kenya, is there a way to like invest in the S&P 500 or Nasdaq 100?
Yeah, there's a way you can invest
without trading. Like
you can just okay. Obviously, if everyone is a trader. But now, what depends whether you remain a trader or an investor is how there's now your long term and how you are taking how you are going about your trading. Because if you bought maybe Tesla at the morning and then you sold it in the evening, maybe you are a trader, maybe, but some other guys may consider you an investor, because maybe depending with your definitions, maybe depending with how your rest of the portfolio is going, maybe that was a single trade move for your portfolio. But maybe but there are ways you can invest in such asset classes, the S&P 500, the Nasdaq 100. So maybe what I forgot to mention is you cannot invest in an index directly. So you have to invest now in an index fund or an ETF. So an index fund is just a managed, not a managed, it's passively managed, like I mentioned, it's a passive investment. But now the fund firm comes up with a portfolio that tracks the performance of the underlying assets. So if the S&P 500, they come up with a portfolio that mirrors the S&P 500. But not to invest in them, now there are some brokers in Kenya that offer such kind of services. Okay,
so it's not just that nikitaka kutrade, because of course I've seen people trade Nasdaq and
there are guys who trade,
and it's crazy. Narugaga leo uko profit, kesho uko red, ingine ijuani.
But the good thing with indexing, we always say there's a common phrase that the stock market always goes up in the long term. More so for the developed world. Our stock market, I think we have been in a bear market since 2015 or somewhere thereabout. Even the last 18 years have been quite not that good for stock market. I think our stock market peaked around 2015, 16, 17. Then some counters started dropping. Then the likes of Safaricom equity continued rising until before COVID. Then after COVID, we have been on a downtrend. So maybe it's because maybe our stock market it's a developing economy, but the developed economies will be like the stock market. If you look at how their stock market has been performing maybe in the last 100 years, you can always see very good positive trends. Maybe they'll go maybe in a period of 10 years we'll have maybe one one negative return, maybe 2 years where they have negative returns, but generally the stock market is always going up. So investing in the long term in such an index, it's quite
it's good. It's good.
good.
Na nini what do I want to ask you? Na Safaricom saizi share moja ni pesa ngapi? Do you know?
I don't know on top of my mind, but I think it's around 15.
15, eh?
Yeah.
Because when they went public, it used to be 5, ama? Has it gone even into water?
So Safaricom I think Safaricom hit its all-time high around 2020. They're about, okay, I'm not my numbers are not accurate. I'm just doing approximations.
Yeah.
So I think it was around 2020. That was the time it hit its all-time high. I think it was around 45.
Oh,
yeah,
45?
45 bob per share. Yeah.
Alafu saizi unasema you drop to
15 16 around there.
Yeah, this is the time to buy it, ama? So Safaricom can only go up, ama don't know what.
Okay, so Safaricom has some, if you will try to analyze Safaricom as a company and a business, there are a lot of things that you have that analysts are trying to point out. One they're saying that maybe M-Pesa reached its peak in Kenya, that it's no longer growing. That if you look at how M-Pesa used to grow in Kenya, maybe for the last 10 years, it used to go in double digits.
Yeah.
But I think the last 3 years, the growth has stagnated. Then the other thing, if you look at data, mobile, SMS and all those revenues, they've also kind of stagnated.
Internet has taken off, like WhatsApp.
Yeah, they've
calls.
also quite
now
stagnated.
There's no money to make phone calls.
Though even they also have their Safaricom Internet, which is also trying to check up some market share. Then you also have I think they were trying to spur up some growth by investing into Ethiopia. And initially guys were very optimistic about Ethiopia, because if you look at Ethiopia, they're the second most populated country in Africa. They never had mobile banking. Guys were saying that M-Pesa was going to do very well and Safaricom was going to do very well in Ethiopia. But also if you look now what has happened, the Safaricom investment guys are trying to say that, analysts are trying to say that, okay, maybe the investment in Ethiopia may not really pay off. Yeah.
Oh,
so
because they should have just kept their monopoly here. Because here I feel like it's such a monopoly. But like I was complaining, I think at a majuzi kwa podcast nikisema, it's been over how many? I've had Safaricom home for close to 5 years. They've never increased the speeds imebaki to the same, because Zuku, one of the things I used to love about Zuku is Zuku, like after a certain period of time, they tell you for this same amount of whatever tunakuongeza these speeds. But sasa shida ya Zuku is the speeds became very unstable.
Yeah, I've seen a lot of complaints about Zuku and most people have transferred from Zuku.
Yeah. So napata Safaricom, like the speeds you used to give me in 2019, you're still giving me the same speeds. And now the difference between hii speed and the next level is so huge that I have to stick na hii place moja, because the internet is the future. I'm thinking like it's what's going to so I don't know, maybe they've also run out of ideas on how to grow their internet market, because I feel like the internet market has not even been tapped, because if you have to look at the rural areas, penetration bado kiasi iko low.
But I think that also has some. You also have to bring about smartphone penetration rates. Yeah, maybe in the rural areas it's not that quite. Maybe the internet demands in the rural area don't have that quite huge demand than in urban areas.
Okay, maybe.
So I think for me, Safaricom, you have to look at a couple of things. One is the play in Ethiopia, how it goes about, and also now how they're going to. How they are going to maybe spark growth in the country. Yeah. But I think it's still okay in terms of valuing a company. I still think it's very undervalued. I think it's still undervalued. But now, whether for you to make money in the stock market, your analysis or maybe your projections, they have to come real. Maybe they have to manifest. In the stock market, or maybe other guys will maybe come to see what you saw maybe a few years later. But now, if the stock is undervalued, but no one wants it.
Na hiyo nini hizo charts, are there like Safaricom charts that someone can analyze and just try and draw your trend line and what and see maybe a price might bounce at this area instead of just a blind buy? Hizo pia ziko?
Yeah, there are some guys who do fundamental analysis, but now not fundamental but technical analysis. But now the issue with our Kenyan markets is that the best tools like maybe Google Finance, Yahoo Finance, maybe other tools that you can use for other developed markets. Most most companies don't track performance of the Kenyan markets. So even getting data about the Kenyan market sometimes is quite hard. Yeah, so there are tools out here, but you are limited. Yeah.
Okay, yeah, but Buddha, asante sana. Imekuwa ni episode 259.
259.
Yeah, hii imekuwa like a masterclass. I always tell people like hii show tutaongea kuhusu kila kitu. Ian atakuja kuambia vile ameopen OnlyFans. Now he's struggling with erections.
OnlyFans.
Yeah. Yeah, alafu saa zingine tunago deep tunabongajia finances. Financial health is really important. Is second, I'd say it's only second to physical health.
Yeah.
So it's something that you need to look at. Usijidanganye pesa haina maana. Unajua watu jidanganya hivyo. Like at money can't buy happiness. Nani alikuambia je?
Floyd says money is not everything. It's the only thing.
Yeah.
It's true. Yeah.
Kuna hiyo hata nini I had this, I don't know how true if you think this is true, but I heard that how kids are raised in different levels of wealth affects their relationship with money. So a kid who's born in the ghetto, for example, will always hear their mother or father complain about money, and they end up associating money with all these negative things, because money inaletaga like all the arguments ni juu ya do nini, and then a kid who's born hii side ingine anaonaga tu just the positives na kuambiwa like unajua pesa ni hivi, you can invest, you can save this, you can, like they hear the positive stories, and later in life their attitude towards money is more, hautapata mtu ya mdosi akikwambia vitu za ujinga kaa hizo like as long as I'm happy.
Yeah.
Do you think that's true? Your theory that wherever you are born can influence your relationship na pesa?
Yeah, I think that the biggest influence with your money habits, your money personality, your money mindset, it's how you're brought up.
Yeah.
So that's 100% true. Yeah.
Pesa ni nzuri bana. Pesa itakutafutia vitu hapa nje. Itakutafutia, yani unajua au samaga kila mtu yuko na their like bullshit expenses where they need a sinking fund. Where sinking fund yako? What do you spend on that? You're always like, why the hell did I spend this?
Since you're that cautious with money.
Yeah, like what?
Your work.
What do you spend on for sinking fund?
Nataka kunianika.
No. Because at the end of the day you must live.
Yeah, mwambia watu na majuzi nimeambia watu that I spent on an OLED TV. Then iko na mtu ameenda pale kwa comments akamwambia you have nini shamba.
That was from your drowning fund.
Yeah, that was from my nini.
So you have a drowning fund.
Yeah.
So there's a singing fund or a drowning fund.
Yes.
But it's like where you waste money. I think that's a very exciting name. A drowning fund.
Whereby wale unaeka hapo
black hole. Okay.
So mtu alinienjoy hivyo, but sasa the only difference is I remember nikiona ile comment yako enjoy your money. Now the only difference is I enjoy this TV, like apart from nini podcasting or mupenda electronics so I'm one of those people. Na who was I talking to? Kuna mtu niko naongea naye nikasikia sema naona watu wako na headphones za 20k enjoy Buddha hizi ni who was that? Remember we were around someone who said that, and so everyone has something that makes them enjoy. So mimi waga
like ilikuwa ni your stylist.
My hairstylist, yes, she was the one who was talking about that. This is what, so me it's electronics. I spent a lot on electronics, and every time I discover an electronic that's superior to another, if I feel that it brings value, I spend on it. So like kama saizi unakunga mic, we were not worried about you, but when we move this one we can hear some noises, so tunatry kuchange hii kwe kama hii unacheki. So kuna hiyo, but hiyo ni business. But now outside business, that electronics thing, the electronics bag yonifuata. Like kuna time uangaliaga nini hivi natoka na log off. Nikienda Amazon yone offers on headphones, I'm like, this is bullshit. I need to log off. And then nikimeka decision I'm not supposed to make.
Yeah.
So your sinking fund, wako na nini? So what do you spend on that? You feel like, what makes you enjoy your money? Because I think that's now the enjoying your money part.
Yeah, so for me, I think I'm a very physical. Okay, I enjoy outdoor activities.
Oh, okay.
So one of the things that I enjoy is cycling.
Oh.
So I think I spend a lot of money on cycling.
Oh, na bikes na kununua bike like
and
bike ya
accessories and everything.
so bike yako sisi za 9k hizi neza shonaga ile I've seen someone on reels Instagram reels mtu ana ride bike alafu anaruka hivi akirudi hivi kiti imetoka alafu wanaweka kale kama kika okay so ride bike I always feel like it's such a dangerous hobby ama
Yeah, it's a very okay. I can't say
it's like it's second to motorcycles.
No, it's not.
It's slower, but it's fair.
I think it's a different sport to motorcycle because now cycling are the engine, and also your speeds are quite
they are limited, but you end your body.
You are the body. You are but I think it's a very enjoyable sport,
and it keeps you fit.
It keeps you fit, and also I think the cycling community, it's quite. I think it's one of the best communities that I've joined.
Okay.
Yeah.
Kuna nyemona hapo Spring Valley, sijua naenda wapi.
I think even Ani used to be. I don't know kama mlikuwa naye, but he's one of the most famous watu wa cycling hapa Kenya. Madoo, Larry. Yeah. Kuna time Larry was like before and big places like in CNN. He used to cycle like I think every weekend. Inako uko memwonaga
so sisi ni wale watu wa weekends to go cycling. There's another day, so there's a guy Jack Zero who is also a member of a cycling community. I think he did a tour from Nairobi to Lodwar, and guys are amazed at like this guy used a bike to go to those places. Another day he used a bike to go from Nairobi to Kisii. Guys are like, this guy used a bike to go to this place. I'm like, this is normal in a cycling community, but not because guys don't know. I think the first time I cycled home from Nairobi to Nyeri, my parents were like,
ulikuwa umechiza na ilichukua siku ngapi?
Siku ngapi?
Siku moja?
5-6 hours. Yeah.
Damn, what's the distance?
The distance from my place to home, it's I think around 120 kilometers. Yeah.
So ni 20 km per hour. Hiyo ni ukishika kuna place zilo na shikilia tu ni gravity sasa.
Okay, the stretch between Nairobi between the car road to Nyeri Mokoroine.
Okay. Yeah. Mimi nataka kujua nini hizo long distance muziogopa, especially kayo route ya Nyeri nitayogopa juzi ni za Mira. Si pia nini Meru and Nyeri si at some point
makutano
zinapatana ndio
makutano
so ase wa Mira vile drive ni kama so ukiride your time auko are you on the actual tarmac kama uko
you're on the sidewalk on the actual tarmac.
It's from Nairobi it's 117 you are 117 kilometers.
Kuna imani na watu
100 sema tu 120.
Nakwambia kuna imani na watu. Mimi pia naogopa Kenya.
Na kuna place ulienda ukashika track.
Lori. I think one of the most I'm an adrenaline junkie. One of the best interesting places to cycle inakuanga Maimahiu escarpment. Sijui kama umeona hiyo Maimahiu ukienda. Umeona hiyo Maimahiu escarpment?
Yeah.
It's a very narrow section of the road. Alafu like 90% of the vehicles hapo ni trucks.
Najua hiyo njia.
Alafu ukishuka when you maybe ukishuka there's traffic ya trucks zikishuka, but kupanda the traffic is moving. So it's always a game between cyclists and truck drivers. It's one of the most enjoyable things. It's crazy because there's a lot of risk there.
So hapo ni the line between life and death is ni vile umesema ni adrenaline. Mimi nikiwa Maimahiu I normally even close my eyes. I pretend I'm asleep. That's how much I like I've told people I have an unreasonable fear of heights. So the fact mwonaga hiyo mushindaga hivi baini wamoja wale wase wamekuwa kingoja ile nje ya susu ifunguliwe huko chini ishafunguliwa
sijui
kuna njia huko chini ya suswa. Me that's what I'm planning to be using. Hautanipata huko juu nitakuwa nikienda Ngong huko napitia naenda
me there's this stretch from Nini Peponi Road kwa hapo Oilibia down to place inaitwa Peponi Springs. Inakuanga ni road ni narrow hivi and then kuna kibigi mnaona sasa inateremka all the way to Mali tumeboda na Karura Forest. you guy every time tuko hapo because inside ingine when you are coming from town kuna nini there's a barrier, kuna land na nini, but if you are going towards town hakuna anything. Hata leo niko naangalia there's no fence, there's nothing.
If anything happens ni Yesu street.
Yeah, Joe.
Yeah. Hizo sasa
mimi nikaulizwa tushuke hapo mali anasema tutembee alafu nipate mat pale mbele. Guy would.
Mimi sinajoga vile hiyo ni enjoy ati the Luo language uses sounds like gets the name from what's happening. So kutetemeka na kijaka ni kutetni. Mi hapo neza tetni mbaya tu. Neza kwa like if you just ask me to walk, wacha kucycle, which I feel is more unstable than walking. I'd be super scared. But hey, enjoy your money, man. So at the end of the day, what makes you happy?
Nini? Zipline?
Nah. Niliona siju kuna place ka Colombia. Ushaona hiyo video? There's a video siju Colombia.
Nazionanga kwa nini? Nazionanga.
Watu wanafunga waya, unafungwa, unaingizwa kamba, inakushikilia rasa alafu unapata kitu kakishikilia. Alafu nateremka and they do it. You see old women doing it because I think maybe you start doing it as a very young person. Yeah. So by the time you are older, hiyo nini imekuwa cured.
There's a prank I saw. This was one of the worst pranks. Inaitwa bungee jumping. Yeah. When unaruka alafu ni elastic rope or something. So ni msia anaruka alafu beshte yake anamchezea prank like they forgot to tie him. So anamrushia rope vile ameruka.
Lakini prank.
Like you aren't tied.
Yeah, because it messes with your mind.
Yeah,
like piga nduru.
Yeah. So,
okay. Yeah, so tulikuwa tunafakosha mada. Okay. 259. So vile tumesema jo enjoy your money jo, pesa ni yako. Sikue hapa una nini alafu wache pesa yote kwa bank account. Next of kin utaiwaste. So make sure at least umebalance kila kitu.
Actually kwa hiyo point enjoy your money, there's a very interesting book inaitwa Die with Zero.
Yeah.
Maski hiyo title Die with Zero.
Oh, Die with Zero.
So, the author is called Bill Perkins. He makes a very interesting point. I think it's one of the non-conventional books about personal finance that I've ever read.
Yeah.
It goes against the conventional rule. So anasemanga that if you die with even a single shilling to your name, you have wasted the amount of time you invested earning that one shilling. So like you should make sure you maximize or maybe utilize much of what you earn. Not dying with billions of money in your name. Okay, what he tries to say is that that's money that you are dying with is fun memories that you should maybe have invested, maybe that you have enjoyed. So in most personal finance classes, or maybe whenever you're talking about personal finance, you'll hardly hear someone telling that, okay, enjoy your money. It's all about saving aggressively. Cut on your expenses.
As long as unajua umeachia familia ka kitu kidogo, enjoy do yako. Alafu pia I think the other thing I think we mean with that is if you can get something you can afford and this thing is going to make you happy.
Yeah.
And the fact that it makes you happy, it puts you in a good mental space. Then spend on it. Because ananijua, I used to complain. I used to have a certain TCL TV. I used to complain about it so much. Nowadays, I actually, nikiwa free, I look for movies to watch. Because poleni, when I'm watching a movie na hiyo nakuaga like, damn, yani kitu inakaaga hivi. Haiko inakaa vile nilikuwa nafikiria. So I enjoy that and then it pushes me nakunga like, oh shit, this thing was expensive. I need to work. I go back to work. I take it. So enjoy your money. So Steve-O tumefurahia sana. Na nikikuita Steve-O simanishi simple boy. But tumefurahia sana. Niko sure wengi wameget their lessons. Kauko diaspora umecheki jo kwenyu it's even easier than kwetu, si ndio? Like investing and what. But hapa Kenya, start today, man. It's all about starting. Let 2024 be the year that at least you start working on your financial health, sindio? So imekuwa wase wakikutaka tumesema Twitter is the easiest, sindio?
Most active on Twitter.
Twitter ni the easiest place kumpata. Mi bado nafuatilia threads zako, so endelea kufanya hivyo. Unafanyaga saa zingine nakaa chini niko like damn, this is good, I need to do this because of so like, subscribe, hit the notification button, tell a friend to tell a friend. Tukimalizia 259 tukisema ekonene.